Hello, Lugia. Hello, Tina. I hope you guys are ready for today's stream. Today is going to be a rather dark topic, so I hope you guys are ready for this. Damn, here we go again, yeah. Nudity. Hey, hi. Josuke? I can't fucking pronounce that, I'm sorry. But yeah, today we are going to be talking about something that's been going on for Chris-chan for about a year now, maybe 2 years. And I had called this out months ago that it seemed like where Chris-chan was losing money randomly, that I thought he was being blackmailed. And it would explain some of the weirder actions he had been doing recently. Because Chris-chan wasn't acting like Chris, and I'll be explaining that as we go on further in this. Well, it turns out my hunches were right, and Chris-chan actually was being blackmailed by multiple people. The people involved are named Joshua Wise, Stephen Boyd, and there's another one, but I'll have to read it as we continue on. But first, I'm going to read the quickie article, sum it up to you guys, so you can understand the full extent to what the idea guy, or Joshua, was doing. Because there's a lot of stuff that's not mentioned in this Kiwi Farms page that is mentioned here. So, first of all, what you need to know about Joshua is, Joshua was a person who started paying Chris-chan to use his ideas. And that started as a simple negotiation. There had been other people who wanted their characters and stuff put into Sonichu. This should have just been a normal thing. Well, when Joshua realized that he could take advantage of Chris-chan, he started to slowly groom Chris-chan in a similar way that Blue Spike did so many years ago, to where he could mess around with Chris-chan and make him his own personal lolcow. So, we can see that behind the scenes he started to manipulate Chris by saying that he could attack Quickville. I'll continue on to that in more depth later when we read the Kiwi Farms page, but he was saying that he could attack Quickville, and he made pictures like this where it's like CWC Media, the search for Christine and Sonichu, or Russian troops landing off in Quickville. Just random things like that. He would pretend like he could actually attack Quickville or attack the characters within it. Here's a quote from Chris-chan. This is a quote from Wise himself. He knows he's talking to a dude that is... he knows he's talking to a dude. The thing is, I used to be a part of a roleplay community years ago, so the rest is kind of easy for me. So he openly admits that he's a fucking LARPer, and you'll notice that as we continue on, where he dresses up in an outfit and plays a character. It's really fucking cringy, and I don't know why he'd be trolling someone like Chris when he seems to be just as ridiculous as Chris, but whatever. What made this so much easier was telling him Kurome put... great, Kurome. Had to bring up Kurome. Put a curse on the internet so that any pics taken of the girls he wants... so any pics taken of the girls he wants to see appear. I don't know what. Elsewhere, in her attempt to make it harder for him to believe, all you gotta do is make a sound clip on Audacity to the girls he wants to hear talking, and he buys it. So that's Wise himself talking about how easy it is to manipulate and trick Chris-chan. This is one of the audio clips that he would give Chris-chan, and I'll be sure it's turned up. It's just cringy anime shit. Yeah, I don't know how Chris didn't realize that. I don't get it. Like, Chris has always been gullible, but this is new levels of gullible. But slowly, as he gained more and more power, he started influencing over the actual Sonichu comic. And he started actually making changes to the comic itself. In Sonichu 16, which we won't see for a while, he actually plays a role in the storyline, and he actually makes an appearance, apparently. And Chris dresses him up in his LARPing gear, where he role plays as a man with a gas mask, which is really fucking cringy. I can't wait to read 16. I want to see how stupid that gets. Apparently, Weiss was the one that told Chris about him and Magi-chan. So I think Weiss had influence over Chris Chan coming out as bisexual, Chris Chan getting in that weird relationship with Magi-chan. This didn't seem like a Chris thing, because Chris is already set up for Magi-chan to get with a different character, and then all of a sudden he just changed it to being himself, and that's not a very Chris thing to do. Chris will set something up and he'll go through with it. So it was weird that he just all of a sudden had a random change, and this guy definitely explains why Chris changed Magi-chan to being with him. Yes, this is a story of two mental people bumping into each other. But yeah, Weiss told Chris that that Crystal would be born from Chris anally raping Sonichu, and he did draw this. He did actually draw this, and I won't even have to censor it because it doesn't actually show any genitalia. But Chris Chan apologizes to Sonichu and tells him that it's his destiny for him to make his baby. So Chris wants to have his daughter so bad that he's willing to anally rape Sonichu. That is a thing that he thought he could do. Hello, Jester. Yeah, you did just wake up in time. Oh yeah, they were also trying to get Chris to go to New York as kind of a way to copy some older stuff that Trolls did. Trolls would try to get Chris Chan to go long distances, but unfortunately, or fortunately this time, Chris didn't do it. So I'm glad Chris didn't go all the way out to New York. I'm really glad. These are the changes to Chris's Fantasyland and Sense of Reality. Throughout November, Chris made several posts, some accompanied by drawings on being possessed by hyperdimension Neptuna, goddess of Uzume. What the fuck is this weeaboo garbage? And the invasion of Quickville by enemy forces from Neptunia video games? What the fuck is Neptunia? What the fuck is any of this shit? Halfway through the month, observers began speculating that a new troll had appeared. I was one of those people, because Chris was acting very out of character. And Chris's post began to include references such as, he wrote that Sylvana had been captured by a Russian billionaire. Oh, that explains where Sylvana went. That was the girl that Magi-chan was supposed to get with. Posted a photo of a soldier who would be resurrecting her? Wait, what? Captured by a Russian billionaire, photo of a soldier who would be rescuing her. Okay. Recognized by speculators as part of the Remove Kanab internet meme. The same day, Chris recorded Freestyle Dance with me for our world. I'm gonna click on that. Hopefully that loads. I want to see that. I really do. We're in a new saga. This saga is called the Chris Chan Extortion Saga, where Chris Chan was basically being blackmailed and manipulated into performing for internet trolls. It's really fucked up, but I feel like you need to see this for the context of everything that's going on.
People of the world, Christine Chandler coming to you from live from home.
Let me pause this music. I know some people have complained. Some people have complained about not being able to hear the audio. So I'm going to pause this music, and I'm going to turn up the audio on the recorder before I start this because apparently Chris Chan is quiet as all hell. And I know you guys don't want to miss out on any of this.
People of the world, Christine Chandler coming to you live from home. And the world is in great need of your services as well as my own. Most direly. So dance with me, if you will, to this lovely little polka. And put on a tinfoil hat to show that the man will not take over your minds. A beret will also suffice.
Chris Chan is literally wearing a tinfoil hat, proclaiming that the government will not take over your mind. These are the actions that made me think that Chris Chan was being trolled again, because this is a new level of crazy even for Chris Chan.
Well.
I hope you guys enjoy this. I don't even know what the fuck I'm watching.
That's free! In your own way!
What the hell is this? Are those dogs howling?
Even the dogs are singing!
Your dogs are crying out in pain. You don't have dogs. Whose dogs are those? Stop, it hurts.
Moonwalk!
Oh god, it's 4
Do
minutes
it
long.
tomorrow.
Okay, I think you guys got enough of the context. You guys got enough of the fucking context. That's all I needed to fucking share of that. I'll turn back down this. I'll play the music again, and we can continue where we left off, because that is terrible. But yeah, another thing that Chris started doing is he started talking about Nazis. And there was actually a video where Chris Chan was like, I will not let the Nazis take over Equestria. That was also influenced by the trolls, who they started telling him that that Quickville was experiencing Nazi invasions, and that Equestria was too. It was just really weird. And then Chris Chan started talking about LGBT shit, and you'll notice that these trolls, they slowly start pushing Chris toward a more left-leaning direction, which people had speculated before that Chris was just turning left. But in reality, he was being pushed to the left by trolls. I don't know if this troll is a leftist himself, or if he just wanted to see it to be funny if people start calling Chris a leftist. But it's very strange that Chris started behaving like this. There's another quote from the idea guy, Joshua. Chris thinks he fucked up big with having his new medallion crafted out Element 115 Nazi Zombies reference for the win, which was stolen by a time-traveling Hitler, and Chris from the comics was taken too. Now Quickville is under the control of Nazis, and this is what he thinks Quickville, along with the U.S., looks like in his imagination. Oh no. Oh no. So it all became a Call of Duty reference? Oh god. Quickville elections. On November 26th, Chris broke his long-standing policy on barring elections in Quickville by announcing position of mayor was up for election. The mayoral candidates were notorious historical figures: Russian President Vladimir Putin, actor Brendan Fraser, Ian Brandon Anderson, which is a reference to old trolling events, and Payday 2 character Bob McKendrick. Allison Amber, I don't know who that is, did not run for re-election. Chris himself endorsed McKendrick due to him sharing a name with his father with a slogan ripped off from P. Mert's Make America Great Again. A few days later, Chris announced another election for chief of police. The candidates were Ian Brandon Anderson again. That's such a fucking tired meme. These trolls can't even fucking do shit correctly. That meme's so fucking stale. And 2 serial killers. Fucking hilarious. Brendan Fraser won the mayoral election. He'll never be as good as Billy Mays, so stop trying. Ian Brandon Anderson won for police chief. No one fucking cares. And now here's the part where I speculated that this was people fucking with Chris Chan, because this goes against what Chris Chan had said all along. Chris Chan started saying that Rosa Chu was trans. Now there's 2 possibilities to why he would start saying Rosa Chu is trans. One being that he read Rosa Chu's story and he didn't understand the allegory for transsexualism in that comic, which is, in that comic, Rosa Chu was a male Raichu that turned into a female Rosa Chu, but she explains later on that it really doesn't matter, and that's not how sexes work in the Pokemon world. That Pokemon change sexes normally. It's not anything strange, and that humans just don't understand. So I don't know why he would do that. Maybe he just misunderstood the idea of the comic, because I know he read the comic. It's confirmed that he read the comic because he rips off the comic later. But then another thing is, the trolls could have also told him that Rosa Chu was trans, and he just took that literally. And this is so weird for Chris Chan, because throughout all of Chris Chan trolling, his main thing is that Rosa Chu and Sonichu are straight, and that Rosa Chu is a female. The whole trolling event started because Chris Chan was saying Rosa Chu is a female, don't put a pickle on her. Everything starts from him saying Rosa Chu is a female. So he wouldn't waste all this time of his life fighting against trolls on the internet to just all of a sudden say Rosa Chu is trans. And I have a strong feeling that after this saga is done, after the whole blackmailing shit is over with, Rosa Chu will go back to being female, and he will not be married to Magic-chan anymore, because he's already expressed regrets being with Magic-chan. How much will Dylan keep talking about Chris Chan? Quite a bit. But I have a feeling this shit is gonna get retconned. Residents of Quickville Dimension talking about the Nazi shit. Here's another quote from Joshua. Chris looked back at his comics and was shocked to see how little respect he had in portraying women in his works. He thinks the Nazis kidnapped 2000's Chris and brought him back in time, where they possessed him with satanic powers and helped the Nazis win World War II. In truth, I made a joke about the Nazis and satanic powers, not realizing just how much he'd take it in. I told him Chris from the past abolished women's rights so he can go on his love quest. Chris got so pissed that, especially after I told him that, classic Chris helped the Nazis win World War II. And that explains what we were talking about during the Chris possibly being trans thing, where Chris drew female Chris kicking male Chris in the crotch. Not because he actually has gender dysphoria, but because he's been tricked to believe that past Chris is a Nazi. He believes that past Chris is possessed by a demon. That explains why he drew that, and that explains why his gender dysphoria doesn't exist. He's not actually trans. He did this because he thought Chris was evil, not because he doesn't think he is Chris. And he even kills off older Chris Chan, which doesn't make any sense to the timeline. And then Hitler is zapped to the extreme. What? I didn't see this one. I've seen all this other shit, but I haven't seen this. This is an ongoing saga. The blackmail saga is still going. This shit I'm gonna be reading from the Kiwi Farms later. This just happened. This is like immediately just happened. Oh yeah, and then here's the artwork of Chris Chan anally raping Sonichu. This is something Chris Chan actually drew because he thinks this is how he's gonna have a kid. And that's because Joshua told him that that's how he's gonna have a kid. And he's so desperate to have his daughter that he would do this. And he apologizes, but Joshua did explicitly include rape, so this is rape. What's my favorite Chris Chan saga? Liquid Chris, definitely. Okay, the Hitler thing finally loaded, and it's just a picture of Chris Chan shooting lightning at a thing of ashes. It's not even really Hitler. You can't tell it was Hitler. And so that was kind of a letdown. Okay, another change in birthday is for Magic-chan, which was changed to November 14th, 1948. The joke being that he made him 69 years old. 69, really? Are you fucking 12? Making him the oldest Sonichu character in the comic. There's also the same birth date of Prince Charles. I doubt that was what he was referencing when he did that. Halfway through December, Chris Chan claimed that Sylvana had been lost in the past, but there was a way to bring her back. His followers would have to believe in Sylvana Rosa Chu and her fullest existence in Quickville. That's ripping off New 52. No, not New 52. That's ripping off the DC shit that's happening right now. And you already did that plot where you got trapped in the time void. So how many people get trapped in the time void? That doesn't make any sense. Well, at least it seems like something Chris Chan would come up with. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, What If. Sonichu lore was changed from unknown number of Sonichus to an exact number, 69. Really? Fucking 69 again? How fucking generic are you? How predictable are you to where you have to keep throwing in 69? I'm gonna go get a glass of water. I'll be right back. My throat's hurting a little bit. I'll just leave you guys with the sound of music until I get back. Okay, so let's continue now since I've gotten my water. On January 5th, Chris posted that Magic-chan and his mentor Mewtwo had gotten married, showing that gay marriage is indeed legalized in Quickville. That doesn't make any sense, though, because Magic-chan was a straight character. He was gay in the Sonichu animated series. That doesn't make any sense. Showing that gay marriage is legal in Quickville, they now live as a loving triad with Sylvana. After the idea guy was outed, Chris resumed uploading pages for Sonichu 12. In it, jokes, references inserted. Idea guy survived. Nightstar and Diamond Melody order a hot dog from Tesco merchant. Tesco had a scandal involving selling beef with horse meat to customers. That's fucked. That's fucked. So he makes the fucking ponies eat ponies. That's fucked. Partial pages from Sonichu 16 were posted to Kiwi Farm users whom Idea Guy had confided in. The plot, which involves his expansion on how he gets access to Chris in a nightmare state in Quickville he had described to him. Chris retained the story after Idea Guy was ousted. However, his ally suggested that he would avoid publishing that issue. There's gonna have to be a lot of Sonic 2 retcons. A whole lot of Sonic 2 retcons. It's fucking insane how much of the Sonic 2 lore this guy has fucked with. And now you get to see the really fucked up shit. He convinced Chris that there are 3 real-life Sonichus. He convinced Chris that his dad was half Sonichu. He convinced Chris that he was half Sonichu, even though that's not how halves work. And then he convinced Chris that Ted Bundy was half Sonichu, you know, the serial killer, and that he was framed and wasn't actually a serial killer. And Chris still believes this because in the Count Dankula interview, he actually confirmed that he thinks that this is true. And the Count Dankula interview was in June. So he's still believing this shit. Here's another quote from the idea guy, or Joshua. I let him go to GameStop looking for Neptune while honking his horn and shouting her name. He went up to the window and thoroughly scanned inside for Neptune. The Forest Lakes GameStop. He went there because I said Neptune would wait at a GameStop. For some reason, he went to the one he got banned from, so I went with it. So he was trying to get Chris Chan in trouble right there. Chris Chan abandoning Christianity for hyperdimension Neptunia. So apparently he gave up his religion for this? What? Chris Chan has started his own fucking religion? Oh no, that's not good. Marrying Chris to Crystal, Rosachu, and Magi-chan. Even though Magi-chan was already married to someone else, Chris began a polyamorous relationship with fictional characters Crystal, Rosachu, and Magi-chan on March 2018. Eventually, Chris declared himself to be bisexual, which he did take back later. He admitted that that was trolls later on. And that's where I really started saying that, that people were fucking with Chris Chan again. I'm gonna try to load this video. If it loads, then we'll watch it. If it doesn't, then we won't. Oh, yep. It loaded, so I'm gonna mute the music again. And we're gonna get ready to watch this terrible, terrible thing. Children shouldn't be awake this late anyway, so if it has bad stuff in it, that's all on you. We see Chris licking a penis. This is some of the blackmail shit that they made him do. They wanted to show that he was gay to people, so they would have him do humiliating shit like this, and then they would hold it against him. This is some of the shit he would have to do for them. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible. I don't even think that shit is funny. I just don't think it's funny. Like, when it came to Blue Spike, we heavily disagreed with this shit. And everyone agreed that it was bad. So I'm hoping people will keep their fucking word on the Blue Spike shit and hold this guy to the same fucking, the same standards. I don't know who this quote is from. Oh, this is from Chris Chan himself. I would have sex with my Quickville counterpart, even my Equestria counterpart, Nightstar, her sweetie Coon... No, I'm not saying that. Her sweetie Coon Tea Nougat was so handsome, he made me realize I was bisexual. I was like, wow, that's probably troll influence too, so don't fucking hold that. Making Chris into a prostitute. This is some more shit that made me believe that Chris was being trolled again. He was offering blowjobs and shit to people who would come to his house, and people had told me about this, and I'm like, nah, that can't be true. And I looked into it, and I had already heard shit behind the scenes about Chris Chan being blackmailed. So I held on to this and waited for all this shit to release. And here's some of the leaked content to what this guy was doing to Chris Chan. He would tell Chris Chan this shit, and Chris would just fucking believe him. And he would tell Chris that he'd have to give him information, that he would have to do shit for him. And Chris didn't realize that the more he did shit for this guy, that's the more blackmail he had on Chris. So Chris was giving this guy the material for him to use against him. Yes, Chris now believes that Quickville is real and that he can travel to it. He didn't always think this, but now he actually does think this. This was also helped, influenced by the trolls. This recent trolling saga has really impacted Chris in the mind. He's beginning to deteriorate. It's really fucked up. I'm hoping that these two things will load. Russia troops in Quickville. Mayor Allison Amber hands control. Okay, so she is Chris Chan's assistant. So apparently he made her mayor at one point. And she was going to hand it over to the Russians. And these are just from cheap-ass photo editing sites. I can go to these same sites and fucking do these same fucking headlines. It's not hard. It's really not hard. This one's from Photofunia. This one's 100% from Photofunia. Will Graduon remain friendly? Many fear the war over. A Cold War imminent. So he was telling Chris Chan that the Russians were invading Quickville, and because Chris Chan doesn't actually know about the world, he just believed this shit. Oh, so apparently Ballsmaker got caught. He got caught and they revealed who he was to everybody. And he wanted them to remove his pics, so he was offering to give them Chris Chan related shit. So he was willing to throw Chris under the bus because he was stupid and got his own family doxxed. So it's thanks to Kiwi Farms that we know this shit about him, but he didn't want this shit known about him. Mr. Joshua really didn't want everyone to know who he was, and he was going as Ballsy Maker or Balls Maker 94. And he was going by multiple pseudonyms, and right there he has a anime girl profile pic, probably because he's also autistic, as people assume. So Kiwi Farms did the right thing and they doxed him. And after they doxed him, Chris Chan realized that he was a troll, so hopefully some of this shit finally gets changed. In March 2018, a Ween brought up Nazi camps, and Chris responded, "That's Graduon's idea, not mine." And apparently there's still a conspiracy going on that Joshua still has influence over Chris Chan. And here's the quote from Chris Chan saying that he didn't like the idea of him being with Magic Chan and Crystal. He says himself, if you want bad direction, you should look up Idea Guy. So it's not 100% sure that he knows Idea Guy is Joshua, but at least he knows Idea Guy is bad. If someone could tell Chris Chan that Joshua is Idea Guy, that'd be great. I would try to get in contact with Chris, but he probably never would want to talk to me after the shit I've made on him. But yeah, now we're going to be talking about the latest Kiwi Farms doxing of Joshua and people involved in his latest trolling. There's a reason why I'm calling this trolling saga the Extortionist Saga, and it's because this article is entitled Joshua Wise, Stephen Boyd, and the Chris Chan Extortionist. And that's because these people were actually getting shit from Chris Chan. They were blackmailing him to give him the shit that they wanted. They were getting thousands of dollars from Chris Chan, actually. Let me be sure to read this so we don't get anything out of track. We get a little explanation to how Chris's life worked. We get an explanation that everything that Chris Chan has done that's been entertaining was influenced by trolls. This is stuff everyone already knows. I'm not even gonna read that because it would be pointless. But he explains that after Bob died, let me burp for a second. After Bob died, the old guard of trolls ended up breaking up. The only one that's still around is Marvin, so the old people that actually had honor and would stop if things went too far, they're all gone. They're all gone. All the original trolls are gone. The only one that's actually left is Marvin. And for a while, when things got boring, it was because Chris Chan had been ignoring the trolls, ignoring the internet, ignoring everything. And he was just in his own little world, happy again, and he was glad to be away from these people. He was glad that everything was back to somewhat normal. But then things changed, and Chris needed money because his mom kept telling him that he needed to help her pay for the house because it was being foreclosed. Chris makes $1,300 a month off of his disability checks. And supposedly his mom takes $900 of it and keeps telling Chris that he needs to raise more money or they could lose the house. And we've seen with the Financial Saga that he has been trying to raise money repeatedly, and he's been willing to sell so much shit in the attempts to pay for the house. Well, it turns out in this thread, if this is true, his mom actually has a foreclosure on the house to where she has a mortgage on the house to where it'll be fine as long as they keep paying it. But when she dies, Chris is going to be out of a house. They're going to remove him from the house because when she dies, the bank takes the house. Chris Chan doesn't own the house. Chris Chan can't own the house. These payments are just so they don't lose it immediately. But no matter what, Chris Chan will never own this house. And it was thanks to Barb pushing Chris to get more money for her that someone like the idea guy or Joshua could sneak his way in. Chris was so defensive before, but when he needed the money, he became very vulnerable. So Joshua Wise and Stephen Boyd, along with another person from Canada that isn't being named right now, but I'm sure that they will be named eventually. They got Chris Chan into a Discord server, and they had been brainwashing Chris Chan and manipulating Chris Chan to do whatever they wanted him to do. And this is the only part that he says is funny, but some of you might find this stuff funny anyway. But Joshua and Stefan send Chris Photoshop pictures of a weapon on the moon and pictures from Ferguson warning that they could destroy Quickville, the fictional city where Sonichu lives. And Chris actually believed them. We saw those photos earlier, that's why we went to the quickie first. You guys actually got to see all the shit that happened. So naturally, once they believed that Chris had... once they have Chris believing that they have Chris confessing to be a pedophile and raping his mother... wait, what? So naturally, once they have Chris believing that they have confessions of Chris being a pedophile and raping his mother, how would they get that? I guess they have him recording saying that? I don't know why they would do that, but apparently they have confessions of him saying that he's a pedophile and raping his own mother, but you guys know that to not be true. It's just shit that they're using against him. Once they have those confessions, they threaten to release them to the public if he doesn't record himself shitting on the floor and punching himself in the face until tears and snot are running down his chin. This is shit that Blue Spike would do. This is the same shit that Blue Spike would do. Blue Spike made Chris shove his own medallion up his ass And then, when he was crying, and because he didn't record it, he wanted him to do it again. This is the same shit that Blue Spike did, and everyone told him he went too far. But no one's stepping in this time. No one is stepping in except for the head of Kiwi Farms himself. And I gotta applaud this guy that at least he shed some light on this. At least he told everyone what's happening. Ugh. At one point they asked Chris to punch his mother, which he does, though he claims lightly. So now they have a video of him supposedly beating his mom. So that's another thing that they can use against him. Once they have full control over Chris, his beliefs, and his actions, they begin to quench their thirst, threatening again to release the videos. It starts off with small gifts like Steam cards, but it continues in the first few months of 2018. This is the shit in the Financial Chew saga, where I was like, where is this money going? This doesn't make any sense. Why is Chris doing this if he desperately needs the money? Why is he spending it? It's because it was going to these assholes, not Chris. He was buying these guys games and gift cards and shit, and he wasn't actually spending it on himself. So all this time, when we thought he was spending more money and just didn't give a shit, it was actually people using him. They managed to obtain more than $6,000 in Steam codes, prepaid Visa debit cards, and GameStop toys and electronics sent directly to their houses. Don't believe him? And he actually has the confirmation right here. This is it. This is the shipping confirmation that's 100% fucking happened. And Chris also kept every receipt. This is something that happened. All these fucking receipts from these assholes who fucking extorted this money from Chris Chan. All the fucking GameStop receipts. These are some of the, this is the photo that Josh sent to Chris to try to intimidate him. Him wearing the gas mask. You can see his pudgy little face. You can see his blue eyes. And this is the photo that Kiwi Farms released of him. You can see that the faces match up identically. You can see the pudgy little face. You can see the exact same eyes in that photo. This man right here is definitely 100% Joshua. The head of Kiwi Farms tried to get a hold of Joshua's mother, but she wouldn't answer. And now, thanks to Joshua, Chris is actually fucked up. Chris is actually beginning to slip into being full-on delusional. Chris has always had issues, but now, thanks to Joshua and friends' brainwashing, he has actually gone even more crazy. Chris now actually thinks that alternate dimensions are real and that he can travel to them. He believes that Quickville has its own dimension and every cartoon has its own dimension. He believes that Ted Bundy is part Sonichu and was framed. We already talked about that. He believes that his father was part Sonichu. We already talked about that. And so much other shit that we talked about in the other thread. The guy who owns Kiwi Farms, or at least runs it, he talks about how he tried to contact the police. He tried to contact everything. And it just didn't go through. It didn't come through with anything useful. Chris is out of $6,000. So finally he says, fuck Joshua Wise, fuck Stephen Boyd, fuck Ann McLaren, fuck Rocky, fuck Greene County, fuck the entire United States. You people are shit, and I hope you rot in hell. And right now, that's where this saga ends. There's nothing after that so far. Now, since we're done with the talking, I guess we can just go to the part where we talk to the audience directly. If you guys have anything to say, say it now. We still got a good 15 minutes left on the clock. One guy told me to make a Discord about Chris Chan, and I was like, I don't know, that's a good idea, but I'm not going to do it. I mean, that's probably for the best right now. I'm gonna lay off Chris for a while. I'm gonna go easy on Chris because this shit's really fucking bad. Well, this saga is Blue Spike 2.0 now, isn't it? Yes, it is. And that's why I don't support this. I don't endorse this. And if you know any of these people in real life, I would say report them to the police or report them to just any fucking thing you think could help. The fact that this man could still talk to Chris Chan has me worried because he has Chris so wrapped between his fingers he could get Chris to really do anything right now. This is worse than Blue Spike. Blue Spike had Chris shove a medallion up his ass, but after that, Chris mentally was fine. This guy has fucked Chris up in the head, and has fucked Chris's comic book and his whole little world up. Quickville was all Chris had, and now it's permanently damaged because of this man. This is seriously fucked. Like, I know just being a bystander and not doing anything about it. At the same time, Chris could have saved himself since the beginning and never did. It's not that simple. And I'm not gonna say that this is like a crutch, but his autism does hold him back to some extent. It makes him less likely to call out for help. It makes him less likely to know who's lying to him and who's telling the truth. It makes him more susceptible to being tricked. So chances are he was being tricked and he actually thinks that this is real now. He actually believes that this is the truth. For once, I actually somewhat feel bad for Chris now because of somehow even more insane, yeah. Honestly, if you've seen the state of his mother and himself, there's no going back now. Unfortunately, it's a downward spiral that won't end. Yeah, I would say things were fine if it was just Chris doing this. But the spiral's going down even faster because people are manipulating him and they're using him like a puppet. And I don't support, nor do I like that. I'm all for watching a dumpster fire, and I'm all for making fun of Chris Chan, but I'm not for getting him in a secret server, getting other people to manipulate him, and getting other people to implant thoughts in his head that truly aren't fact. We've seen this shit happen in the Sonichu Girls saga, where a bunch of trolls made Chris believe women were fans of Sonichu and wanted to date him. We've seen shit very similar like this in the Blue Spike saga, but now this is like the ultimate saga to end all sagas. This has fully torn Chris apart. While I don't like Chris for his past actions, there are just some things that people don't deserve, and certainly doesn't deserve this. Yes, I would say make fun of Chris Chan for things like too many games. Make fun of Chris Chan for his comic. We shouldn't make fun of Chris Chan for this. This is just too far. What the hell was that? What the hell was what? I feel bad too. I really do feel bad. Like, seriously, why are people doing this stuff? The answer is simple. It's not just because they're a sociopath or a psychopath. This man, Joshua, he was a child. He is a child. And he reads about Chris Chan. He reads about all the trolls. And he wants to be just like them. He wants to be a part of their community. He wants to go down in Christory. So, being the delusional child he is, he comes up with this plan. And he wants to make a name for himself, so he tries to outdo everyone. He tries to do something grand and spectacular. But he doesn't realize that he's fucking with a real person, and he doesn't realize when he went too far. In the attempts to make a name for himself, he's ruined both himself and Chris Chan even further. This is Blue Spike on crack and kicked to an 11. Yes. Could this be the final saga? How do you see it ending? I don't know. This is a really dark saga in Chris Chan. This is literally psychopaths talking. This is literally psychopaths taking advantage of someone who cannot help themselves. Yes. Yeah, I even have. Yeah, even I have standards. Chris Chan comics are so cringe. You're right. Do you think Chris can ever get out of the situation? It'll take months, maybe years, to get out of this. We should have seen this coming. We did see this coming. Ever since Chris Chan started putting LGBT shit in his comics, ever since Chris Chan started calling himself a woman, ever since Chris Chan started saying weird shit about serial killers being Sonichus, ever since Chris Chan started offering blowjobs, I knew he was being trolled. It's just we can't go around saying this shit without proof. And if you watch some of my other Chris Chan streams, when people would bring up shit that was troll influenced, I would correct them and tell them that that wasn't Chris, that was the trolls. I believe psychopaths fit better for them. Sociopaths feel remorse. Yeah, you're right on that. I don't know the way, God. I'm truly sorry, but I don't know the way. There might be hope for him, but I don't know where that hope could be. Please make this the last saga of Sonichu. But what if this is not a child? People could continue the legacy with other creators like Chris Chan. The fact an adult could take pleasure in this is fascinating and terrible to me. He is an adult, but there's also claims that he has autism, and if he does have autism, he could also be kind of childish in the brain. But no matter what, this is fucked. This is really fucked. But no matter what, he did grow up knowing of Chris Chan. So I still go with my story that he just wants to be an internet troll. He wants to try so hard to be something in the Chris Chan community that he's become one of the most infamous people in Chris Chan history. Like, I want to see these guys made him more mentally demented because they are just going way too far. Like, I know he dug himself a grave, but these guys filled the grave with the dirt. Yeah. I'm just gonna play Sonic 06 because I have no life. I'm not trying to be overly dark, but the fact is he is so documented that he is so documented and so famous that people won't stop messing with him until he's dead. Yeah, that's the truth of it. He made a name for himself being fucked with on the internet, and there's gonna be kids in the next generation that are also gonna try to fuck with him if he's still on the internet, if he is still alive. These people are just pure evil. People like this go too far. And I'm hoping that other Chris Chan trolls will step up and call out this fuck, because this is just fucked. So autism fucking with autism, that sounds like it'll end bad. Yeah, it's autism civil war here, even with everything gone over here today. Yeah. Troll autistic. Well, this is the man who put on a gas mask and LARPed as a supervillain, so what do you expect? The whole reason why the term A-logging was invented was for people who got too invested in Chris Chan to the point to where they become just as autistic as Chris Chan. And I would say that this is more of a blue spike and not an A-log, but he definitely has some characteristics of A-log. Dylan lost his YouTube channel? No, I still have my channel. I'm pretty sure Blue Spike, even though he made Chris hurt himself, wouldn't go this far. He was gonna go further, but the trolls stopped him. The old order of trolls. But unfortunately, the order of trolls are gone. There's no one left to stop him. In a way, Blue Spike laid the blueprint, and now you can have copycats of Blue Spike. yeah, the example is the idea guy. I hate that he came up with a clever little name for himself, too. The idea guy. He has a fucking quickie page. He got exactly what he fucking wanted. He's now part of Christery. If we like it or not, he is forever in Christery. The White Knights are real, but the White Knights don't get involved in the deeper trolling. This is some 4D chess trolling. The White Knights get involved in the trolling that happens on Twitter, the trolling that happens on Facebook. They don't know about this shit and probably won't know about this shit. I'm pretty sure they died and lost hope fixing Chris. Yeah, some people are like that. Some people gave up on trying to fix Chris a long time ago. But there are still some Chris Chan White Knights. There's not as many Chris Chan White Knights as there used to be, but there are still some. At this point, Chris should unplug from the internet. It's not good for his mental health. Well, now he needs to. He needs the internet because people are paying him to make the comic. And that money is helping him keep his house for the little bit of time he has it left. He's only going to have his house until his mom dies. I would say that he's in a lose-lose scenario no matter which way it goes. I wanted to make requests after this, but now I don't know if it's the appropriate timing. I'm going to quit doing Chris Chan videos for a bit. I'm going to lay off Chris for a bit. I think it's in my own best interest to leave Chris alone during this. I'm going to watch. I'm going to keep watching behind the scenes and see how this plays out. But I'm going to definitely be more hands-off in the Chris Chan community. I'm just going to be an observer for a bit. Is it still going or has it stopped? Like Joshua is still blackmailing Chris. Joshua was blackmailing Chris and he got over $6,000 out of Chris, Joshua, and others. And hopefully this shit exposes him. If you guys really want to help Chris out, go check out the Kiwi Farms on Joshua Wise. I'll have in the link when this stream is archived. Go check it out. Go look in this yourself. Make videos about this. Talk about this. Spread the word. Make posts about this on Twitter or wherever you go. Just make sure people know about this. Anyone that brings up Chris Chan, be sure to tell them the truth of what happened. Be sure to tell them that the shit happened in late 2017, early 2018, was influenced by this man. Will we talk about the GameStop saga? I don't know if this saga was... that's old stuff. If you want to see that, you should probably go to Base Shadman. He'll talk about that shit, or the Chris Chan documentary. I'm not interested in it right now. I might be interested in it one day, but I'm not right now. His mother is in very poor shape. I don't see her lasting much longer. She's old. Regardless to what she used to look like, she's really old. So, I don't know if it's neglect or just old age getting her. I find it creepy that he's using his mother to get more money. It's debatable if he's using his mother or if his mother is using him. So... I don't know. So what happened to the old trolls? They're all retired. Liquid Chris gone. Thaddeus gone. They're all gone now. They moved on with their lives. It's not 2008 anymore. Everyone had lives. They moved on. But yeah, guys, we're reaching the end of this stream. This has been a depressing stream. I just felt like I had to do this. I felt like I had to come back and tell you guys about this. I feel like I had to tell you why I'm going to stop doing Chris Chan related content for a while. So hopefully you guys have been informed by this. Hopefully I was able to tell you something new. And hopefully you guys will spread this video around, like it, share it, so other people can see this too. The links to the archives that I used are going to be in the description below. The links to the Quickie and the links to the Kiwi Farms post. If any new stuff happens in this saga, I'll update it. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and bye.